The House of Representatives, they're actually voting now, as I mentioned at the top of the program. They're going through a series of amendment votes and may get to one of the underlying appropriations bills tonight. They're going to be working again late tonight. But behind the scenes, the House leadership continues to try and pull together agreement among Republicans for a temporary funding bill. But so far, not coming together for him. Joining me now with an update from Capitol Hill is Epoch Times national politics reporter Lawrence Wilson. Lawrence, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So I know you've been tracking this all week. Everybody's kind of waiting to see if we get something before Saturday night. What's the latest you're hearing?
Well, it's a lot of incremental, slow progress today on Capitol Hill. You know, the Republicans in the House are putting forward these several appropriations bills. Speaker McCarthy seems to want to do that before bringing a continuing funding resolution. I think the idea is to gain some momentum so that if he can show progress there, show the fiscal hardliners in his caucus that he's actually using the process, he's going to let them get their votes on the remaining bills. Maybe then he'll have an easier time getting that continuing resolution passed. That kind of hit a snag today as one of the bills, the Agriculture or Department of Agriculture bill. Now that includes the FDA funding for both of those agencies. That includes a provision that would ban the mail order sale of mifepristone, which is an abortion-inducing drug. That's very important to many of the conservative members, pro-life members. And so that would have seemed to have been no problem with the Republican caucus, but some House moderates have objected to that. These are Republicans in swing districts. So there's a concern that voting for this rather restrictive abortion provision according to some, would really endanger their seats in the next election. Yeah. So the speaker was going to pull that vote, not vote on the ag bill, punt that till maybe after a continuing resolution was passed. But apparently, after some other objections from House members, it looks like they may go ahead with that bill tonight, and that would be an up or down vote on the agriculture bill with the mifepristone ban in there. So that's kind of up in the air.
Yeah,
I don't think Speaker McCarthy.
That's a big issue, as you pointed out, for pro-lifers. I mean, I actually spoke with the speaker about that over the weekend, and in fact talked to some leadership today. Was in the original bill, still there, but there's some other problems with the ag bill for some of the conservatives. But you're right, there's a handful of moderates, not very many, but it doesn't take many at this point to derail one of the bills. Of course, I think you're absolutely right. They're trying to get a little momentum and buy some time because there's still about 10 holdouts on a continuing resolution based on my conversations. So I think the speaker is trying to get as much time as he can to show momentum, show progress, but also hopeful and prayerful, I think, that some of the holdouts will come over.
Yeah, and one of our reporters was able to talk with Representative Dusty Johnson, a Republican of South Dakota, yesterday, he's the chairman, as you know, of the House Main Street Caucus, and he's been involved in these negotiations with the more conservative members, the fiscally conservative group. And that was very much his thinking. If we're building some momentum, this may give us a little bit more trust with the members who are holding out, that we can bring them on board and actually get this continuing resolution passed this week. And of course, the deadline is at midnight on Saturday night.
Yeah, you also you wrote about, and I think you're absolutely right, that Senator Schumer and the Democrats advancing their own spending bill. This is an unusual tactic, as the lower chamber typically passes their version of the budget first. Where do you see that going? I mean, the speaker said ain't happening over here.
Yeah, well, interestingly, the one senator, at least, Kirsten Sinema, independent senator from Arizona, has been trying to get some provisions added to that bill that would maybe make it a little bit more acceptable to folks on the House side, including many Republicans. And she's trying to add some border defense measures to that bill in an attempt to make that package a little bit more acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I think the logic is nobody really wants a shutdown. Now, some members, the real fiscal conservatives, they're willing to risk it, but nobody really wants that to happen. That's when the soldiers, sailors, and Marines start going without pay and other things like that. This is not a political winner. So they're hoping that by adding a border security provision, that maybe that will just bring them on board and say, look, for 6 weeks, we'll have to bite the bullet and let's get this appropriations deal done in that time.
Of course, that helps her too. She's in cycle, and Arizona is one of the states that's being overrun. Lawrence, I want to thank you for joining us. Appreciate your insights as we all track what's happening there on Capitol Hill.
My pleasure, Tony. Thank you.